Hello and welcome to Voice of TOD. I'm Tom, and today we're going to take a look at a story I've just noticed about Star Wars The Old Republic. So we're over here on IGN. I'll put a link in the description below. I don't often check IGN, I'll be honest, but today I just thought, oh, let's have a look. And this one caught my eye, probably because it was one of the first stories I saw. But it caught my eye for a number of reasons, namely because this is a game developed by bioware. It's a game that I played, or tried to play, on a really old crappy laptop whenever it came out and it didn't run. I've always been mildly interested in the Old Republic. I love Knights of the Old Republic. Well, I love the first one. I've only played the second one once that I can think of, and I really want to play it again, but it's probably, outside of the original trilogy, the Old Republic is my favourite Star Wars setting. Some of my favourite characters, I love Revan. I think Revan is just a cool character when you look at the lore and the backstory and stuff. Now, I know the Old Republic is set after Knights of the Old Republic 2, and it ties in all of that kind of stuff. It's been out for I mean, the article says over a decade. This caught my eye because really the thing that the article doesn't talk about, which is what's going on at BioWare. Let's go through the article and then I'll talk about my thoughts, really, which are probably going to be less Star Wars and more BioWare. But let's go through the article first. So Star Wars The Old Republic is going third party as BioWare focuses on Mass Effect and Dragon Age. It's preparing to be taken over by Broadsword Online, not a studio that I've heard of before. EA is nearing an agreement to move the ongoing development and operation of MMORPG Star Wars The Old Republic from BioWare to third-party studio Broadsword Online Games, IGN has learned. According to sources familiar with the matter, Broadsword and EA have signed a letter of intent. The deal isn't done. This is just they're exploring options by the sounds of it, with the deal expected to be finalised as soon as this month. So they're exploring options very quickly. The agreement would see the Old Republic handed over to current Ultimate Online and Dark Age of Camelot developer Broadsword Online, not games that I know anything about. But the studio is run by former Mythic Entertainment co-founder and BioWare VP Rob Denton, who previously worked on the Old Republic in the early days. Kind of fits, doesn't it? After the publication of this story, EA addressed the news in the following statement. So this is the EA statement. Almost 12 years after launch, Star Wars The Old Republic remains a success and continues to grow its dedicated and passionate community. We're so proud of the work the team has done, and the future of the game and the community continues to be very bright. We're evaluating how we give the game and the team the best opportunity to grow and evolve, which includes conversations with Broadsword, a boutique studio that specialises in delivering online, community-driven experiences. Our goal is to do what is best for the game and its players. I mean, big shout out to EA for that. I like and I hope that it is true and that they are looking at it from that way. This is how can we keep the game sustained at a certain level and keep the community engagement high. Actually, another question that's just popped into my mind. Didn't the Star Wars, the Lucasfilm EA agreement for exclusivity on Star Wars products expire? And would the Old Republic even be included in that because it was done before then, I think? So many questions. Currently, roughly 70 to 80 people are part of the core development team of the Old Republic, more than half of whom are expected to move to Broadsword. Those remaining with EA would have an opportunity to look for roles elsewhere within the company, but may otherwise face layoffs. Okay, so that's not good. Maybe EA is just trimming the fat here then. Maybe they see the Old Republic as surplus, and this is a way of them, one, cutting costs, and two, shifting focus on non-Star Wars titles. The Old Republic will continue to see planned content updates, such as upcoming patch 7.3 and the next PvP season, with more expected down the line. EA will remain as the game's publisher, while BioWare will focus its resources on single-player games, such as Dragon Age and Mass Effect. The two series announced new games in 2018 and 2020 respectively. Details for both have been scarce since Dragon Age Dreadwolf in particular seems to be suffering from an exodus of senior leadership. Its QA workers voted to unionize last year. Okay, so we'll touch on that a bit then before we go into the back on the Star Wars, the Old Republic stuff. Firstly, that picture looks like Mass Effect 1. That armor, the whole design, it looks more Mass Effect meets Star Wars than true Star Wars. I know you've got a robe over here in armor. But this is why I like it. It was more of a kind of fancier wartime sci-fi Star Wars. And yeah, I love the art style of this. As I say, I've never played it, but it just looks so Mass Effect. So yeah, it's an interesting art style choice. I kind of like it, and I wish I had played this. I wish I'd been able to play this because I think I would have enjoyed it quite a lot, to be honest. But big takeaway from this sentence, and this is, I would guess this is partly speculation, but we do know that after reboots and tweaks and things, Dragon Age Dreadwolf is going to be a single player. Good. It should be. And Mass Effect 5 has to be single player. I'm sorry, Mass Effect 3's multiplayer mode was excellent, but the story, the thing that BioWare did best, let's say did because it's been a while, the thing that they did best was stories. They told amazing single player experiences, cinematic experiences. I'm really pleased that EA has turned around and said, no, focus on single player, because the live service stuff is kind of dead. We've got our Battle Royale with Apex Legends, that's making us a ton of money, like so much money we don't know what to do with. So how about you just go off and do a single player game? I am sad that it looks like some are facing layoffs, because I was sort of hoping, me briefly reading between the lines was maybe people will move across with it to keep on development with Broadsword. Others will be reshifted around the studio to try and push Dragon Age out the door because it's been waiting for so long. Who knows? Anyway, let's continue with the article. A New Hope. The Old Republic was first launched in December of 2011 and IGN gave it 9 out of 10 in their review at the time. It was initially released as a subscription game but was converted within the first year to free-to-play after a steep subscription drop-off. Yeah, that's what happens with these kind of games. And has remained that way ever since to steady success. The Old Republic is still being updated regularly, which is good, with numerous expansions over the last decade, and while it never quite reached the heights of competitor World of Warcraft, how many games have? It did achieve nearly $1 billion in lifetime revenue as of 2019, so in 8 years, it's made nearly $1 billion up to 2019. That's mad. Last year, its creative director, Charles Boyd, left the company after 16 years, and I think that's a big reason why this is happening, if I'm honest. The Old Republic remains a popular period within the Star Wars universe, and Lucasfilm acknowledging it as a potential setting for future movies and shows. Lucasfilm, if you go anywhere near the Old Republic, you will just ruin it. Stay away. Don't do it. A remake of the original Knights of the Old Republic is currently in development, apparently is in development, but its status is unknown after being delayed indefinitely. It's pretty dead, isn't it? Let's be honest. Either way, the Old Republic, the game, is on the cusp of a new era. The Old Republic is a really cool little way of Lucasfilm dropping cool little obscure lore nods and Easter eggs and things in the current slate of TV shows in the current time period. But please don't go there. Unless you get somebody good. Like, I would have said that the James Mangold idea of the first Jedi movie that he's wanting to do would have been an excellent place to kind of start working in the Knights of the Old Republic. No, Lucasfilm, stay away. You're in as bad a spot as BioWare are. Stay away. I hope that at least for the game and the players, this is good news. It's sad that it looks like there's going to be layoffs. That's never good. Nobody wants that. But it does feel that this is EA shifting focus, trimming the fat a little bit. Obviously, they're still going to make money on this because they're the producer. Maybe it's time for somebody else to take their spin on Star Wars. We know the Ubisoft game is coming. I've talked about that in my last Xbox video, where we were talking about potential games that are going to be seen at the showcase. And with something like Star Wars, it's focused on the story. It should be a single player, it should be a Mass Effect style cinematic experience. For me, that's the best way to do a Star Wars game, to get me interested in it. An Uncharted style, the Amy Hennig, 1313 would have been amazing. Bring that back, redevelop that, make it a Mandalorian game. Star Wars is in a rough place. But this looks like EA is looking past Star Wars and trying to see what's next. And fully aware that BioWare need a win. I don't know if Dragon Age is going to be that win, but I just hope that Mass Effect 5 is going to be that win. I'm so worried that they're going to mess that game up. But hopefully, this is a good sign that EA is accepting what BioWare are good at. They're letting BioWare do what they're good at. And we're going to get a couple of absolute gems that brings back the BioWare magic. Maybe this decision is the start of that. As always, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.